Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming you all to International Affairs being broadcasted from the capital of Bangladesh, Dhaka, here in the SATV studio. I am, of course, your host, Shamsul Alam Panto. I have so many important updates that are waiting to be discussed here on this very program. Before we get on with the discussions, I want to introduce my panel. Here in the studio, I have a professor of political science, Rashad Alam Bhuiya is of course hailing from Dhaka University. I welcome you on to the program. I am very pleased to see you here in the studio today after a long while. Also, in addition to our professor in the studio, we will have our geopolitical correspondent Norman Floyd Barnes joining us on this broadcast from Washington, District of Columbia. Let me begin with Norman. Of course, the Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived in China, in Beijing. Of course, he's meeting his counterpart Xi Jinping, the leader of the CCP in China, and that actually shows that the Chinese are able to host two world superpowers in a span of 10 to 14 days in their capital, Beijing. Some of these include the friendly ties between the two nations. Of course, I remember a time, I want to ask this question to Norman Floyd Barnes. I remember a time when Donald Trump and Xi Jinping was in a garden, and one of those questions were asked that what other world leaders would be visiting this place apart from me. And of course, one of those answers was Vladimir Putin. I want to begin with Norman Floyd Barnes. What are the updates that you have for us? Of course, I want to get your comments regarding Vladimir Putin's visit to China to meet his counterpart Xi Jinping. How are you seeing this? And of course, the reactions, some that we are going to get from Donald Trump, I hope, sometime this week. How are you analyzing these events?
Good morning. Greetings from Washington, D.C. Today, our Congress, particularly the Senate, is very concerned about this war and the United States' involvement in this war. The congressmen, including some of the prominent Republicans, are prepared today to talk and vote on the War Powers Act and what efforts need to be taken to get the United States out of this conflict. The Congress has repeatedly reported that even though the president is talking about a progression, a ceasefire, and other actions in the Middle East, Congress has not been told exactly what is going on with Operation Epic Fury. They feel that the president has been very casual and avoiding communicating with them the true factors, what is going on, how this event is affecting the economy, how this event is affecting the future, how we deal with other things in the world. So right now, Congress is now talking about the president's recent visit to China, and now we see the Russians are now friendly communicating about business today. So all these factors are very concerning to the general public here, but more importantly, our legal people, our people in government are more concerned about exactly the future, where we go, how long this thing going to last, and they are prepared now, I'm hearing on the floor, including some of the Republicans, to force President Donald Trump to end this conflict. So that is where we're going right now. Washington is basically buzzing about how we got into this hot mess and how we get out of it. And they are now prepared, I'm hearing, to challenge the president on our involvement there. So that is the topic right now, along with some local primaries in the United States. We're starting to get ready for November, the midterms. So it's all political right now, and basically we're trying to here in the States figure out exactly what our government is doing, why we in this conflict, what is the timetable on us getting out of it. This is a war, this is a conflict not wanted by the public, and we are now seeing that our elected officials are now prepared to approach the president. That is it.
Right. Interesting commentary from Norman Floyd Barnes, of course, regarding on the backdrop of Putin and Xi's visit to Beijing or the summit that is happening. The Senate in Washington has voted 50 to 47 yesterday to move forward with the resolution which will force U.S. President Donald Trump to end the war with Iran, a breakthrough for a democratic-led effort. I want to focus in the studio with Professor Rashid Alampuya. As you were hearing Norman Floyd Barnes talking about Putin's visit in China, it's important to understand how these two neighboring nations are going to understand the future days of the Strait of Hormuz, how it will coincide with the U.S. Aggression that we have been seeing for the last 81 days in Iran. We still know that there is much ambiguity inside the Strait of Hormuz as world battles with economic crisis or looming economic crisis. I want to get a comment from you, especially regarding the friendly relationships between Russia and China.
Thank you so much for inviting me again in the SATV. Yeah, I mean, this is a high level of summit that taking place in China in back-to-back. And I think this is, you correctly said that this is Chinese proximity to hold world majors, two superpower leader in their venues and within a short period of time. And I think it's give us a signal that the supremacy of Chinese diplomacy, Chinese business and Chinese political power in the global spaces. So although, China is competing against USA, that is we know everyone, but we know that China and Moscow have a great partnership, has never threatened each other, and we can see that the amicable relationship between the two countries for a period of time. And Putin also addressed Xi as a dear friend, and we have been seeing each other for a long time, and that's just give us a model of partnership that between the two countries. Particularly, China is the biggest consumer of this crude oil that has been supplied from Russia and Iran for a long time. You correctly said that we would hope that after the summit of Xi and Trump, there should be some communication regarding the Iran war. That is still, you said 81 days, but we haven't heard anything major about China's role in that war. Although Donald Trump requested him not to supply weapons to China, but weapons to Iran, but China is not going down. China is continuously a great partnership, and it is not ashamed of holding Putin immediately after Trump returns to USA. So that gives us that world is multipolarity of the world once again, and the biggest partnership we have seen between the China, USA and Iran is also taking benefits from that partnership. So I think, it gives us a stalemate in the global diplomacy and global relationship. We are not yet to get any clear signal what gonna be taking place in the next few hours, particularly in Iran war. Although Trump is tweeting in the social media that he might attack and he may not, but Qatar, Saudi Arabia and also UAE requested Trump once again not to attack. And because the Hajj, the pilgrimage season is going on in the Saudi Arabia at the moment, very crucial for the Saudi Arabia and also and other countries. So I think they have requested Trump not to attack again in Iran at the moment, because it's very unbearable losses for them and it cost humanity as well.
Right, very important strategic discussion topics raised by you, Professor. I want to talk about these very issues with Norman as well. We see that over the span of this week, the U.S. President had remarks that he was 1 hour away from issuing an order to resume warlike confrontation with Iran in or around the Strait of Hormuz. Now, on the other side, Vice President J.D. Vance has said the U.S. has never considered sending Iran's stockpile of enriched uranium to Russia, and he has also commented saying the war is coming to an end very quickly. On the other hand, Donald Trump's comments seems to contradict his very own stance regarding this war with Iran. I want to also add on that Donald Trump said that I think we're going to be finished with that very quickly and they won't have a nuclear weapon. And hopefully we're going to get it done in a very nice manner. This was what Donald Trump has been saying to the world media after he quickly changed his stance regarding the Middle East after persuasion from the Gulf countries as well earlier this week. As we know, a holiday season is usually a season where such a confrontation comes out. We've been monitoring this pattern ever since last Christmas on how the administration attacked strategic positions inside Nigeria. But however, coming back to the point, I want to ask you, Norman, it is a growing concern. On one side, we see the pressure to continue the war, of course, due to the Israeli lobby. On the other side, in the U.S., the Senate is trying to stop this heinous war, which affects the day-to-day activities of normal Americans. How do you see this event going on as we head towards the holiday seasons that Muslims will be celebrating worldwide? Norman.
Yes, in addition to the Muslim holidays, we have the United States holidays starting next weekend. We're going into summer. We start our traditional Memorial Day weekend, which represents traditionally families meet with other people. We have checked in the technical. We have another person talking on the phone on the line right now.
Right, I
Have a
don't.
technical issue right now. You check the system.
I'm not receiving anything as technical, or I'm not being able to hear you.
We can't. I'm hearing someone else speaking right now, both by me and my colleague, or someone else was talking over top of us, and I'm still hearing that right now.
All right. Let me come back into the studio as we fix this technical issue.
Yes.
As Norman was stating regarding the holidays, the summer vacations are happening in the United States of America. Of course, I want to get a clearer image from Rashid Alam Bhuiya. You know, the U.S. has a history of attacking near holiday seasons, as I was mentioning earlier. And in California, we've recently seen a hate crime that has been multiplied into international news as well. So I want to see your reactions, the biggest mosque compound that has come about. How do you see this, Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya, before I can get to Norman?
I think, yeah, you correctly stated that the USA, I mean, Abbas Araghchi on the other day, I mean, during the BRICS summit, he said there is a huge trust issue with the US at the moment. You know, even though you are on the table of the negotiation, you cannot believe that USA will respect the spirit of negotiation. They can attack, and particularly when USA is very much linked with Israel. So Israel is also another, I mean, a country who doesn't respect the international laws, regulation, and also the spirit of conversation, spirit of the discussion and negotiation. So that's why. I think you correctly said currently Saudi Arabia is in a big danger, particularly, you know, the summer season is going on in there, and they're hosting, I mean, the millions of pilgrimages worldwide. So I think feeling that concern, yesterday they probably, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and UAE negotiated with the Trump that you should not attack Iran at the moment, because it's gonna be costing millions of people in their life would be in security, and there'll be security threat because they're in the pilgrimage movement, a pilgrimage situation in the Saudi Arabia. So I think you said correctly, yeah, I mean, that's why this war is continuously to be holding in the stalemate, and I think Donald Trump might come, and because he become terribly unpredictable. This is now more than 31 days of ceasefire, but he's saying he's 1 hour away from shooting. So 1 hour away of bombing Iran again, and at the same time, the World Cup season is coming very, very shortly. So I think Iran football team is ready to go to USA for playing the World Cup football, but they still haven't been issued the visa. So I think multiple issues at the moment is going on, whether world is going to a certain level of certainty, because the holiday seasons, as Norman is also saying, that holiday seasons in the Western world is also very much looming, particularly in the next month, in July. So I think overall global at the moment of high level of inflation in the worldwide season. So I think looming uncertainty is carrying in every part of the world. We cannot celebrate, we cannot plan for holiday, we cannot watch the biggest show of the earth, the World Cup footballs, because of this uncertainty and war in the different parts of the world, and particularly in the Middle East. Yeah.
Right, very importantly stated by Rashid Alam Bhuiya here in the studio. Let me also add on that Pakistan has deployed almost 8,000 troops, a squadron of fighter jets and air defense systems under a mutual defense pact towards Saudi Arabia during this holiday season. I want to take a very short commercial break. Afterwards, we discuss other pressing issues from around the world. So I recommend our viewers to stay tuned to this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
Testing nuclear missiles.
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks.
Preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
With President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back on International Affairs. Today, I am joined with Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya here in the studio, alongside our geopolitical correspondent Norman Floyd Barnes from the United States of America in Washington, D.C. I want to ask you this very next question. Of course, it is of a different take. It is not regarding Russia, China, or Iran, or the United States. It's, of course, regarding a journalist question to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his two-day official visit to Oslo this week. As he walked away after a joint press appearance, the reporter, journalist Hel Ling called out to him asking why he does not take questions from the freest, one of the freest media in the world. And that has caused an uproar on online social media as well. Later, we have news that that reporter has lost her Facebook and Instagram account access. So I want to ask you this slightly different question, different take. An Indian leader is in Norway And of course, social media did take up to this regard regarding the media freedoms that both Norway and India enjoy. I just want to get your short comment. How do you see this? A reporter broke the norms, broke the rules, and asked point blank a question which the leader ignored, as we've seen online. What are your remarks? How do you see this, Norman?
Yes, this is appear to be a standard that is being developed. We have similar issues here in the United States, parts of the world, when a high-profile leader has a serious question and the journalist presses him for an answer. The response is the journalist is basically degraded. His position here, his or her position is questioned, and basically the credibility is shot down. So it hinders the whole freedom of speech scenario and free press. Is now like journalists has to be very careful how they word questions. They can't answer the important questions. They have to answer basically the structured script. If they do so, things badly happens to their career. So we now in the age of basically showing that basically that you do not embarrass, you do not put a world leader on the spot by questioning their authority. The results is not very positive for a journalist as we move forward in this new age of discovery.
Right. As pointed out by Norman Floyd Barnes regarding this very issue, let me also discuss the request or the response that we've had from the Minister of External Affairs who was sitting there. His response is quite important. I would just want to ask you, he said that we are a proud democracy which holds a huge, vast population of people centered in India. So, of course, India is our neighbor. I want to get a know-how from you. How, as you see this, reporter the journalist just openly questions the MEA without any kind of regard to some of the older practices we know. However, it also shows the other side of Indian democracy. It's taken to a world stage, and a foreign journalist is asking the questions this time around. What is some of your reactions?
I think, India is ranked 157 in world stage in terms of freedom of press. So, for a leader like Narendra Modi, who has been, I'm not to accuse him, but he has been in the control of Indian media for a long time, and there is a grave concern of human rights violation and insecurity for the religious minorities over there for a long time. Particularly, we have been notified lots of stories are available in the social media, particularly in the last couple of days, particularly in the West Bengal, when the BJPs have been win the election in the Assam and also in the West Bengal. So particularly the insecurity of the minority Muslim people in there, and also lots of human rights violation currently taking place in India. But those news are not being circulated in the Indian mainstream media because it has been hugely sanctioned and controlled by the Indian government. So, we have been found whenever anything happen in Bangladesh, particularly if any minority has been assaulted or killed, Indian news media immediately jump over Bangladesh to telecast those news stories, they asking for a commentary. But if that things happens in India currently, those mainstream media is been silent. Why that double standard things are taking place? So I really appreciate the journalist in Norway who has been very brave and taking these questions to the Narendra Modi, particularly, who has been very much providing a communal leadership and taking away secularist principles in India to a very much a communal country. I must say that because, currently the Muslim people live and also other minorities, but the Christianities and also, in several other provinces, the minorities live and their properties and their business and their beliefs everything is in danger, particularly due to this communal politics and rise of communal politics in India. Yeah.
Right, very beautifully stated. The both sides. Sometimes they turn away. Sometimes they are
They're
very inclusive
silent.
in some of the issues. It really depends on the intention on how to steer the media there in India. Of course, very wonderfully stated by Rashid Alambuya. At this very moment, I want to turn the discussion towards causes that have a huge impact on societies worldwide. We know for the 2-week incubation period, Ebola has stretched out towards Democratic Republic of Congo and surrounding areas of Uganda, prompting a closure of the Rwandan border as well. I want to ask Norman Floyd Barnes, there are issues that are not man-made, which are happening on a natural cause. And today we see the Bundi Bangyo strain of Ebola taking the lives of 130 people there in the Democratic Republic of Congo. What are some initial stage responses? There is no vaccine for this very virus that the world seems to be strained with. I just want to get commentary because we are expecting the FIFA World Cup to be happening very shortly, and in the meanwhile international importance being called regarding this disease by the WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom. So I want to get a response from you. Will you think that this viral disease is going to expand in the coming days? Norman.
Thank you for the question. I have someone who's speaking as we going on right now, but the virus is spreading. You can expect a continued spreading of it. And the United States is preparing for the World Cup as the world is dealing with this global phenomena that is developing. You should expect increased reports of this go on, just like we have in the past. This is a very serious situation. It's been contained in the press right now, but there's more people coming in contact with this deadly disease, and they do not know how it's emanating. And now, since the World Health Organization is no longer involved with the United States and several other countries, the response is going to be very fragmented. It creates a situation in itself because we now have a world event coming to the United States, and we do not have the continuity and the coordination in dealing with this. This is a prime example of what we call a man-made disaster in the making.
Right. As Norman was stating, a man-made disaster in the making. That's very dangerous commentary coming from Norman. I want to ask Professor in the studio, it's not just the Ebola virus that has taken to storm as of recent. It also includes the hantavirus. We've seen taking to social media headlines even a week before this week. And of course, the whole debate regarding what we can do. As I remember, Microsoft founder Bill Gates has mentioned earlier that are we ready for the next pandemic? This was at the cornerstone of the coronavirus that started novel coronavirus or COVID-19. We still remember those days when we could not leave our home, stay quarantined, could not visit our family members even if one was infected. Just want to get some remarks regarding this.
So, you know, the world is tremendously affected by this non-traditional security issues. You know, this kind of pandemics, this kind of dangerously contagious viruses, and also increased effect of climate change and many aspects. But we are very unfortunate. Our leaders in the world is still very much threatening each other in the traditional security lies. They are still busy with the border, is still busy with the aggression, is still busy with the looting each other resources. But on the other hand, world is very much in danger of extreme heating, extreme spread of this kind of viruses, pandemic. And you know, we haven't learned anything. We haven't been learned anything from the global epidemic of COVID. You correctly mentioned in 2020 and onwards. So we are not yet ready because we diverted all of our resources and all of our wealth for this dealing with the traditional security threat. We're still very much fighting each other. We are still bombing each other, and we want to control each other country, but we are not dealing with this non-traditional security threat. Global humanity is in waiting and is in endangered. Their life would be endangered, because if any another form of this kind of pandemic broken out, I mean in the next few years, then we do not have any wealth. Actually, we do not have any resources to fight those kind of pandemic, because you have to invest a lot of resources to deal with this kind of emergency situation. But we are at the moment is very much diverting our beautiful and important resources into fighting and war, and that is really unparalleled at the moment. World is shortage of very rare earth materials, but the countries are very much focusing on fighting and looting each other resources, where these resources need to be invested in the African countries, where this kind of Ebola and other hantaviruses is very much, because their standard of living is very poor, and they need this kind of support from the UN, from the World Health Organization. But these two organizations is also have their great coverage of resources in the last few years, because the USA is pulling out from this organization.
USAID as well.
Yeah,
they pulled out
from this organization.
that was actually looking after all the
these
events.
where we need more investment for these causes, we are pulling out of resources from these causes for preventing these diseases at the global level, because world is full of mobility. If you go for air transport, you can be affected. Any citizen can be affected. So we need more resources, more investment to prevent these diseases, rather than military might and threatening each other in military means.
Right. Excellent remarks by Professor Rashid Alam Bhuiya. Before I go on to a break, I want to ask Norman a very small update from Israel. The Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich has been informed of an international arrest warrant issued against him by the National Criminal Court. So I want to ask you this question. The similar of sort is received by Itamar Ben-Gvir, both who have said they will ramp up their tensions in the West Bank. On the other side, all the vessels in the global Sumud flotilla have been captured by the Israeli Defense Forces. Everyone seems to be talking about the bigger players. However, everyone is ignoring these remarks coming from Israel. I want to just get a small remark from you before we can go on to a break. Norman.
As these legal issues come upon the administration in Israel, we are noticing there's a acceleration of military activity. As the military activity increase, it put pressure on the people who are against the prime minister and his administration to act on these war issues, war crime issues, other matters. So the object is to keep people confused, keep the government involved, create an aggressive mode where we must focus on one thing, that is the military action, and the other part would just have to be delayed, like we've been doing with over a year or so about this trial for the prime minister of Israel. Nothing's going to happen as the military aggression goes on. So the strategy I'm seeing is basically that we'll create a problem and we'll provide a military solution at the time where we cannot afford time to get away and come to court and deal with these legal issues. We must deal with the military, because we must protect the interests of Israel, and we are being under attack by the world. Israel is, and we must defend ourselves. So we cannot reduce ourselves to the point where we have to come and deal with these trivial legal issues that you bring up towards us. That's what Israel is believing. And so right now you're going to see more military actions as these legal issues come up. And that is my opinion, a form to divert from the focus, similar to what we have over here with the files, Jeffrey Epstein's files. You're noticing we have other activities as these pressing issues come up. And it's quite ironic that the timing on these issues all coincide with global conflicts.
Right. Thanking Norman Floyd Barnes' excellent remarks regarding, of course, Israel's position, as well as how the authorities remain silent regarding the Epstein files, even after being exposed on the international framework. I want to head for a commercial break. Afterwards, we discuss other issues pertaining to this new world order. I request our viewers to stay tuned on this very program. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
Really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Caribbean, a place that has been met with two types of disasters.
Bangladeshi students at the same level of opportunity internationally and domestically.
International Affairs. Watch every Sunday to Thursday at 2 p.m. only on SATV and SATV Digital. Hello and welcome to International Affairs, and my name is Shamsul Alam Pantho.
I don't see an easy resolution to this because every slight deviation from the plan,
opening an open war conflict with them,
testing nuclear missiles,
Russia's announcement of these supposedly successful testing,
Special and exclusive footage that is being played on SATV screen.
really coming to terms with Hamas.
Damage estimated between this entire issue.
President Trump is expected to hold bilateral talks
preserving biodiversity and tackling climate change.
We cannot protect the planet before we negotiate peace.
Where is it going? Is it understanding the needs of its people before the needs of this global world?
For China to come to agreement,
They will face better projects.
with President Xi of China and President Lee of South Korea.
Trump's White House that is in favor of these things.
simply not enough action being taken to address the problem of fossil fuels.
What their plan initially is towards the Welcoming our viewers back onto the last segment of International Affairs. I must thank Norman Floyd Barnes for joining us earlier on here in the program and taking on the discussion here in the studio with Professor Rashida Lambuya. Before I talk about very briefly regarding Bangladeshi issues, I just want to get a comment from you. News is appearing that states from AFRICOM, the U.S. African Command, and the Nigerian Defense Headquarters has conducted a joint precision operation in Borno State. They eliminated 175 IS fighters. Just very normally, how do you think it adds on to Nigeria's economy? I believe Nigeria is one of the better economies in Africa. A brief comment regarding this. Afterwards, we talk about regional issues here in Bangladesh.
Yeah, thank you so much. This kind of insurgency and militancy group, Boko Haram, ISIL, we know there are some presence in some parts of Nigeria. The Borno State, you said, are correctly stated. So they have some strong presence in there. So, and this group of people are very uncompromising, and they actually, they are very much, they are still very much conservative forces in religion. And I do not count them as religious forces as well. They are very much, they are out of the religion. If they choose the path of militancy and they want to create horror and terror and murdering, the innocent civilians, they are not part of any religious forces. So I think, yeah, Nigeria has encountered this kind of militancy issues for a long time because of the hardliner views of religions they're buying, and and Nigeria is still they have a very good number of Christian population, Muslim population, a peace-loving nation, but still yet in some part of the Nigeria they have this kind of militancy issues, and the global patronizer of these militant forces need to be carved down immediately, and the resources, we have heard that UAE has been sponsoring RSF in Tunisia,
in Sudan,
and so I think there are some sort of militants. They got support from some sort of core state and also some sort of actors. I mean, the actors beyond the state. So these resources need to be stopped, and then we can get out from this kind of again non-traditional security threat.
Right, and adding on to you as well, locally we have a very distressing news warning to our viewers. An 8-year-old girl was beheaded in Dhaka's Pallavi, very prime news of yesterday. I just want to ask regarding the law and order situation. Do you think it has improved in the last 3 months after the Prime Minister has taken to office this new government in comparison to the last, as we've seen, under the army man who was our home advisor back then? The law and order situation does not seem to be improving.
No, actually not, because the people trust to the justice mechanism, and they will get justice from this, and the criminals, the perpetrators who are committing this kind of crimes, they are not giving exemplary punishment. So that's why this kind of unexpected and unthinkable things are going on currently in Bangladesh. Particularly the young women's are being raped and they have been murdered brutally. So this is give a huge. I cannot explain this kind of situation in Bangladesh. Particularly the insecurity of the girls and daughters. They are very much insecuritized even in their own home. So you cannot, this is completely unacceptable situation in the country. If you cannot improve the law and justice mechanism, if you cannot give the exemplary punishment to the criminals, these things will repeat once again and again. So I think this is a complete failure from the government to getting hold this kind of social and unacceptable unhuman crime that's currently prevalent in the country. Yeah.
Thanking you, Professor Rashid Alam, for your time, your insights, and your valuable knowledge on topics of international and national importance. I thank you for your attendance here on the program on international affairs. I also thank Norman Floyd Barnes for providing commentary all the way from Washington District of Columbia. Let me finish out on a note here. Today is May the 20th. It is, of course, important for Cubans because in 1902, this is when Cuba formally gained independence from the United States, ending the American military occupation that followed the Spanish-American War. With that being said, I want to sign out on International Affairs. I shall see you all on tomorrow's program.